I feel good about this. Hello and welcome back to episode 18 of I Feel Good About This pod. We took a bit of a hiatus, about 2.5 weeks for the holidays. To be perfectly honest, I was a little burnt out towards the end of December and I really needed a break. So I appreciate you guys giving me that space. Hopefully, you're sticking with me, you're coming back, you're returning. Maybe this is the first time you're finding me, in which case, welcome. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't call it the elephant in the room, my voice. Obviously, I sound like a sexy Kathleen Turner, which I guess is redundant. Hello, congratulations, Kathleen, on being a sex kitten your whole life. But she has a very distinct low voice. And for context, I got the flu over Christmas along with my entire family. So that was a super fun way to end this shit show of a year. We all got sick. Christmas was canceled. I essentially flew home to Boston to be sick at my parents' house for like 10 days, which, I do not recommend. Being sick in someone else's house is an absolute fucking nightmare. Even if it's your house that you grew up in and you love your parents and whatever. I am now 41 years old. I do not like live with my parents. I haven't lived with my parents since I was 18. It is hard to sort of go back to that, especially when you are ill and you don't have your creature comforts around. So, do not recommend. Get your flu shots, wear your masks, use your hand sanitizer, whatever you can. Stop this thing from spreading because it ruined my Christmas. But I will say, despite that, I had a good rest and I am here. I'm looking down the barrel of 2026. I am so glad it's here. I feel like the shit show that was 2025 needed to end. And I know January 1st is just an arbitrary date. Not everything changes after the clock strikes midnight. But what changes is my hopefulness. And I have a lot of it. So let's get into the episode. I'm so happy to be back and I'm so happy to do this. So let's go. Okay, here we are, our very first segment of 2026. It's I Feel Good About this week. And the first thing I want to bring up that I feel good about, which I feel like is the thing that absolutely everyone feels good about, but I am not going through this year without sharing my feelings about this. And the very first thing I feel good about in 2026 is the television sensation Heated Rivalry. Yes, hopefully you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, I know sometimes it can be difficult to get in onto something that everybody's fucking obsessed with. But let me tell you, I didn't plan on watching it. And then I had a friend being like, you need to watch this. And so I was like, okay. Sat down, literally 6 episodes changed my life. This is such an important story. And it's so beautifully told. If you don't know, it's about two closeted professional hockey players and their relationship over many, many years. And it doesn't matter if you don't care about hockey. I certainly don't. And I know nothing new about hockey. Actually, that's not true. I did learn what a hat trick was. But that was simply because they mentioned it and I said out loud, what's a hat trick? And my wife answered me. I believe it's when you, like, I'm telling you that I learned this, but now I don't remember. But I would think it's when you score 3 points in a game. Whatever. It doesn't matter. What matters is the hot, gay love and sex between the two main characters, Shane and Ilya, played by Connor and Hudson. I am calling them by their first names only because, like, I feel like we're close personal friends. If you've watched any of their interviews, they are charming and chaotic and completely unmedia trained and just beautiful. because it's so interesting and so funny, and they're so down for how fucking gay their show is. Which, like, if this is your first time joining us on I Feel Good About This pod, we feel good about everything queer on this show, everything LGBTQ plus, baby, and this is no exception. Um, and I just feel like, I'm not going to try to give away spoilers if you haven't watched it, but I will say if you like to see two absolutely gorgeous men go at it in um, multiple ways, which I know there's some conversation between gay men about whether it's realistic or not. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. When I tell you lesbian sex portrayed on television is never realistic, I don't care. I also am like, what do you want to do? You want to see them like douching and having a light dinner before they get railed? Like, that's not part of the story that I think we're interested in. You know what I mean? We want to see their butts, and we want to see them shirtless and naked and railing each other. And not only that, but it's like wrapped in this, like, it starts out like, in that hot, naked, like, doesn't matter if we're stranger ways, and like, it doesn't matter if we're strangers. And then, like, it turns into this beautiful love story. And I'm sorry for saying this term, but it turns from like boning to lovemaking. I know lovemaking is the most disgusting term at all times. Like, if someone said that to me in a serious way, like, let's make love, I'd be like, let's break up forever. Just a little bit about me. Anyways, like, I just feel like it's changed a lot of the ways that I think about 2026, which, number one, my 2026 New Year's resolution is now to get railed at the cottage. And I think that's doable. I also think you can, like, rent out the cottage, like, on like VVRO or Airbnb or whatever. So that's my plan. Number one, get railed at the cottage. And it also is like, okay, well, I guess I now have to buy and read all the books from a local, hopefully like LGBTQ bookseller. Um, and sort of, because I guess there's like 6 or 7 books, there's so many. And the story is just being told, and we have to wait till 2027 until the rest of the story is told. Season two, I think they've already been renewed through season three. And to say that this story is beautiful is an understatement. We could talk about the scenes and break down the relationships and, talk about how significant they are. But, this is only, this isn't a podcast about heated rivalry. So I'll stick to sort of the basics. And also, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who wants to watch, but I can't recommend it enough. It's one of those shows where, like, not only is the storytelling incredibly compelling the whole time, I didn't pick up my fucking phone once while watching those two boys go to town on each other. And to me, that's really special because I struggle as an ADHD girly and just like a person who lives in the year of our Lord 2026 and has so many distractions via my phone, my laptop, everything. So didn't pick up my phone once. Was so engrossed, so compelled in the story. I laughed. I cried. I got hot and heavy. I even said to my wife at one point, "Oh my God, they're so hot. I want to have a threesome with them." And she goes, "I don't think they would want you there." And I was like, "I think that's part of it for me." Like, so, anyways, second resolution is like go to therapy and unpack that. But also, the third resolution is to rewatch Keto Rivalry at least once a week. It's 6 episodes, and I don't have a job, so I can really rush through those pretty quickly whenever I need a fix. So, shout out to all the creators of that show. Shout out to the two main leads who are incredible. I didn't even get into like the acting prowess of these two main leads, which is like the performances were amazing, and along with the supporting cast as well. Um, but yes, I feel so good about this show. And oh, by the way, in case you're wondering, like, oh, I don't really like, I'm not drawn to consume like queer media. First of all, number one, why? Like, talk about needing therapy. Why wouldn't you want to consume queer media? It's great. It's queer people. Are you an ally or are you a monster? Um, this is a show for everybody. I don't care what your sexual preference is. I don't care who you go after. You will leave this show wanting to have sexual relations with Connor and Hudson, the two main leads, or should I say Shane and Elia, which is their character names. Um, but I guess it doesn't really matter because I'd bone them both. The second thing I feel good about this week is Sumo oranges. So I don't know if I'm late to this party. Maybe this is like a conversation that everyone is having on the internet. Like, I love citrus. I'm a citrus girly. I love a juicy citrus moment. You know what I mean? I love a grapefruit. I love an orange. I love a lemon. I love a lime. I love other citruses, a citrus fruit that I can't think of right now. But those are like, I feel like the big four. You know what I mean? uh, Orange, lemon, grapefruit, lime. Uh, I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there's more. I know there's finger limes. Those seem cool. It's like the little caviar, like bubbles of lime. I've seen videos of them. I've never had them, but I bet they're good little bursts of citrus. Anyways, sumo oranges are so fucking good. So one of the things that kind of sucks about oranges is like when you don't like really get like a good orange, sometimes they're hard to peel and you work a long time to peel them and then it's like, this is like kind of dry. This isn't like the best of the season. You know what I mean? Every fucking sumo orange I've had has been, first of all, has this like nubbin on top. They're so easy to peel off, and then the skin is thick, so it's like you can peel it super easily, which is why I absolutely love like mandarins and tangerines as well. More citrus fruit that I forgot because they're easy to peel and they're delicious like 90% of the time. Um, but every sumo orange I had was amazing. And I kind of feel like sumo oranges are like a big version of a tangerine or a mandarin because like they're so easy to like eat and peel. And they're so, my mouth is like legit watering while I'm talking about this. But you guys, they're so good. And they like, when you bite into them, it's like there's not a lot of, when you like have a regular order, there's all like that white shit that you have to peel off. There's not a ton of that with this. It's like you bite into the skin, it's soft, it's juicy, and it's flavorful every time. And so the reason why I'm like so obsessed with sumo oranges is because when I went to my parents' house, they had a bowl. My parents always have like a bowl of fruit, and that's like I grew up with, God, how should I say this? Like an almond mom, I guess. Although I think she's like recovered at this point. But like fruit was always the snack at my house. Like we had an ingredients house. We did not have a snack house. Like you couldn't like open the fridge and be like, oh, cool, like a Sunny D and a Lunchable. Like that would have never happened growing up in my house. It would be like, oh, cool, we have like wheat tortillas and like a block of like low fat, low moisture mozzarella, which I'm going to shred into this tortilla and microwave it and call it a burrito because I was so lazy and I didn't want to make anything real. But it was like my mom was like, oh, like organic vegetables and like, why don't you have some mixed nuts? Like, no, I want a fucking Lunchable. I want a Dorito. I want a Cheeto puff. But that wasn't to be in my house. Every time I said I'm hungry, my mom would say, oh, why don't you have an apple or a piece of fruit? So there's fruit was always available. Anyways, and that still remains to be true. And I'm a big fruit person because of the way that I grew up. So it's like if I don't have any fruit in my house, I feel like I'm like I'm snackless. I'm snackless. There's no snacks happening at my house. So my mom had this bowl of sumo oranges when I came to visit. Didn't really think much of it, but then I was like, oh, okay, I want an orange. And so I like picked one up, noticed how easy it was to peel into it, And then I was like eating this, like, this is the best fucking orange I've ever had in my life, I think, like, or at least in recent memory. Like, what are these? And I like went and found my mom. I was like, what are these oranges? She's like, oh, they're Sumo oranges. And I was like, incredible. Now, one thing to know about my parents is that not only are they ingredients household, but they're bougie as fuck. So I knew that these oranges were going to be out of my price range, particularly as an unemployed bitch. So my goal while I was at my parents' house, and generally my goal is, to clean out the refrigerator because everything is like at least on the verge of being expired, if not already expired. But also to like eat all the bougie shit that they buy, that isn't expired. And so I was like, I like had like 2 or 3 Sumo oranges every day. We like sent my dad to the grocery store to get more Sumo oranges. I was like, this is so good. And then when we came back to Chicago from visiting my family for Christmas and for the holidays, um, my wife went to the grocery store and I was like, "Babe, just like get those Sumo oranges, just see what's going on with them." She brought them back and she was like, "This is the only." I think she brought like 4, maybe 6. I don't remember, but she was like, "These are the most expensive oranges. We should have fucking known with your bougie ass parents." Of course, like they go into Whole Foods and buy a whole fucking case of Sumo oranges and barely bat an eyelash. Well, we don't do that in this house because we are underemployed. But I did enjoy those final tastes. I hope that someday in my near future, I am making Sumo orange money where I can just go to the store, buy my own case, and eat those deliciously bursting with flavor, easy to peel, amazing citrus fruits. I'm also willing and totally open to taking donations from anybody who wants to donate to my Sumo Orange Fund. I hope you understand at this point, if this is your 18th episode, that I'm absolutely fucking shameless on the internet. So I am here to tell you that I am free and open to receive funds for my Sumo orange habit. It might mean that you have to take like a second mortgage out on your house or condo. And just so you know, I'm perfectly comfortable with that as long as I get my fix. Okay, here we are. We've reached our second segment called I Don't Feel Good About This week. And the first thing I don't feel good about is something I realized along my travels where it's very difficult to sort of get lost in a daydream fantasy or romanticize your life when you are married because let me give you a little example of what that means. So we were on the flight home from Boston to Chicago post holidays. Um, we were sick. We were masked up. We were looking like shit. We just were trying to get home. And I have my headphones in, and I am, of course, listening to my pre downloaded BTS playlist. Very important for my enjoyment during this plane ride. I switch between that, downloaded movies, reading a book. But this was a moment where I was really into my BTS playlist. I was like hearing some songs I hadn't listened to in a while, lost in my fantasy world, thinking about the tour that's coming up, which they actually announced after this flight, but I knew that they were going to announce the tour, like the tour was happening and that the album was happening. They did, I believe, announce it on New Year's Day. So this was before that. But I knew it was coming. And I was like thinking about myself, like at the concert, like singing along, enjoying having like interactions with the members. Like maybe one of them grabs my hand and we have a moment and they're like, oh my God, where have you been all my life? I'm literally in love with you. And I'd be like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Like, of course you are. I'm just here like enjoying what you do. And how would you like to uh, marry a rando and I can become a millionaire's wife and live my best, fantasy of traveling around and touring with BTS, being married to my bias sugar, and then I look over to my left and I just see my wife and I'm like, fuck. Back to reality. Not only am I back to reality where it's like, oh God. And I love my wife more than fucking anything. What an incredible fucking gem. What an amazing person to continue to be married to me all of these years, who loves me unconditionally, who literally is like the perfect human being for me. And also the person who holds a mirror up to me and is like, hey, about those BTS tickets, you're fucking unemployed. What are you going to do? How are you going to pay for these BTS tickets? And what she does know, and I think what we're both not really saying out loud, is that I'm going to go into debt for the BTS tickets. I'm not missing this tour. It simply won't be happening. I will figure it out. Money comes and goes. But BTS tickets are not easy to come by. And, as if this is your first time here, I'm also doing freelance work to help, the gap in between me not making any money and me making some money. Certainly not making BTS tickets money, and certainly not making the kind where I am interacting with the band. Those are not the tickets that I'll be getting. I can't afford those. And also, that doesn't really happen at BTS concerts. So, anyways, it's very, very hard to get lost. And I'm like one of those people too who's like, I grew up in Fantasyland. I spent my entire childhood laying back and romanticizing my own idea of my life. Whether, some people call it delusional, some people call it daydream, whatever. I still do that as a 41-year-old. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to change my life. I fucking love it. But it's fun to imagine another version of it, right? It's like the whole sliding door thing's like, what if? But I mean, push come to shove, my life is good and I want it the way that I want it. But it does get in the way of getting lost in my daydreams. So I'm wondering how you guys manage that sometimes, because I guess we all need a reality check. I guess getting lost in our daydreams is not necessarily a good thing anyways. So you do need to come crashing back to reality. And sometimes it's the form of your wife telling you how fucking poor you are. Okay, the next thing I don't feel good about this week is I have an incessant need to let everybody I'm with, whether you're best friend, acquaintance, family member, stranger, but you're with the group, this is the first time I'm meeting you, I have an incessant need to let everybody know what's going on with me. So, like, for instance, if I'm with a group of people and we're at dinner, maybe I know some of these people, maybe I don't, maybe we're going to a comedy show or whatever. Like, there's like a night we're spending together or a day we're spending together, we're going on a walk, whatever we're doing, and like all of a sudden like my stomach starts to bubble and I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to have diarrhea, or like, oh no, I feel nauseous, or oh god, I have a headache or whatever, or oh my god, I'm walking and my thighs are rubbing together and they're chafing and it hurts. Like, I have to let every single person know, and that is such an unattractive quality. First of all, talk about being like a constant oversharer. Talk about like being a person who literally can't like hold any cards close to their chest. I mean, obviously, I have a podcast where I talk about fucking everything I want to, but like, I literally need to let everybody know what kind of physical state I'm in. And like, it's because, like, if I don't do that, then I won't stop obsessing about it. And I also need people to know that, like, if we're like on a walk and I'm like, oh, we need to find a bathroom, I need them to know how much of an emergency it is, because it has to immediately become everybody's problem. And I need them to know that, like, I'm a normal person. Well, such a huge statement. I don't think I can look back on these 18 episodes and claim to be a normal person, but I'm at least relatively good at hiding my insanity for most of the time. And I want people to think I'm a normal person. But if something's happening to my body, I need all hands on deck and I need everyone to know because, like, if we need to find a bathroom, it needs to be everybody's emergency. Everybody's got to get on board and they're going to know how important it is because I can't just casually be like, anybody, yeah, if we could stop for a bathroom break, that would be great. Like, no. If I'm telling you, it's like we have 30 seconds to 2 minutes, maybe at most. We have to collectively as a group, solve this problem, or it's going to be the worst day of all of our lives. And this is mostly when I'm having diarrhea or like, like I'm leaking and I have my period. But I just like if I don't know you, you're gonna know. And I think about like the issue, like how this came to be and why I'm so like in this position where I need people to know this about me. And I think it comes from growing up fat. Because one of the things that I think is really interesting about growing up fat is like I always like when I would like walk into a room or I would get to know people or like it would be the first time I'm meeting someone, I would have to get ahead of the fact and make people aware that I know that I'm fat. It's almost like apologizing for it in like a humoristic way because I would like try to make a joke about being fat so that other people know like, hey, just so you know, like I'm aware of this. I know that like I'm a fat person in this room. And getting ahead of that and making a joke is like, oh wow, that's like that's like a very broken part of my brain that I think needs to be addressed because I think like I need people to understand that when I am in a state, either the state being like, I'm the fat person in this room, and I need you to know I'm in on that, or I need people to know that, like, if I have diarrhea, I'm going to react a little bit crazy, and I know that that is not necessarily socially acceptable. But I need you to know that I'm getting ahead of it so that I can do the thing in order to save myself from something embarrassing. And those two things are like intertwined for me. Like, and isn't that fucked up? I do not feel good about that. And I obsess about these kinds of things until I tell people that I'm going through it and or that I know that I'm fat or that I'm about to have diarrhea. Isn't that fucked up? And I think it really takes like a plane ride to like think about that. You know what I mean? You're like traveling and you're thinking about all these random things and definitely like on the plane being like, why do I need to let everybody know what I'm going through? And I think it really is like a pretty quick road. And I know probably not every fat person feels this way, but this is just like how my like growing up fat trauma materialized into adulthood. So there's that, and I certainly don't fucking feel good about it. Okay, we've reached our final segment. We're here at I don't know how I feel about this week. And this is kind of so random. But this week, when we were traveling around Boston, and my sister and her husband live in Salem with their kids. And one day, Tara and I, my wife, were driving to Salem, and we had been like, sick, and like we hadn't had a lot of time to like go and see everybody. Like I didn't even get to see my brother and his husband because like they were the only members of our family who didn't fucking get sick. So it was like we couldn't even risk seeing them at all. And then like once we started to recover and then like also people in, their house started to get sick, we're like, okay, maybe we can go see them. So we were driving to Salem and we wanted to get there quickly because we were just like, it'd been a long time. And traffic was pretty good. But then like we roll up And Tara goes, she looks at me, looks straight in the eye, and she goes, looks like there's some frick up ahead. I fucking lost it because this fucking woman who is normally like pretty chill, quiet, but like eventually, like occasionally drops like the funniest thing you've ever heard. And there's something about abbreviating the unexpectedness of abbreviating traffic to frick. Like you normally don't use the end of the word when you're abbreviating. I fucking lost my shit. Looks like there's some frick up ahead. So fucking funny to me. And then I started thinking about like unexpected abbreviations, and I decided that I actually like I don't like them, but I wanted to ask you guys um, to comment on some of your unexpected abbreviations that you use on regular life because like they're so fucking funny sometimes, but I also don't know how I feel about them because I kind of hate them. It's like it makes me laugh so much because like I hate it. Like there's a discomfort in it for me. So I would love you guys to like DM me or comment below and let me know what your weird abbreviations are, and please explain them to me. And if it's not totally like, if I can't get it from the get go, explain to me how they came to be. I also know like the producer, one of the producers of this podcast, Becca, she has like a lot of different names that she calls things that like start from something else, and like, or like for instance, I'll give you an example. Her dog's name is Jack, but she calls him Peepo, and it's so funny to me. She's told me a little story. So like I just want to hear those because like I kind of love them and I kind of hate them. And I think we're taking it by case basis. Like I, but frick was so out of like it just like was out of nowhere, and I was like I could not stop belly laughing. So I was like I want to know what else is out there, even though I might hate them. So I don't know how I feel good. I excuse me. I don't know how I feel about that, but I want to know what yours are. So send them my way. Okay, we did it. Episode 18 in the books. I'm sorry again about the absence of my voice. She is coming back. I did lose her for 3 days. And during that time, I was texting my friend Brandon about it. I said, I lost my voice for 3 days. And he goes, oh, Tara must be in heaven. The fucking gall. There is no one who can ruin you more emotionally than your friend. Anyways, absolutely hilarious. But it's been so fun. I am so glad to be done with 2020. No, sorry. So glad to be done with 2025 and into 2026. I've moved through my burnout. I've moved through my illnesses. I'm really looking forward to doing a bunch more podcast content in the upcoming year, interacting with you guys. If you want to keep up with us during the week, you can find us on I Feel Good About This on Instagram and TikTok. And obviously, like and subscribe and get your friends to like and subscribe and comment on this YouTube channel. We are always trying to get as many subscribers as possible. So share with your friends. I love you, and I can't wait to see you next week for episode 19. Bye. I feel good about this.